Here are 3 disturbing videos that the government doesn't want you to see. As of the time I'm making this video, Joe Biden is the 46th president of the USA, and personally, he's the worst president in my lifetime of only 19 years. The mainstream media has done everything in its power to protect their supreme leader, from changing the definition of a recession, to shrugging off his many gaffes with fact checks, to even getting rid of the YouTube dislike button to hide any sort of disapproval. I know that last one isn't 100% confirmed, but I believe it. However, what I'm going to discuss is way more serious than any of his dementia-induced mess-ups. During the US Senate ceremonial on January 6, 2015, Biden got too close to some of the senator's children. Yet you won't find this on YouTube's front page, as they've gone out of their way to bury these moments.
Everybody else is looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, nice to see you guys. Thank you. See you back home, I hope. Come on, you jump in here.
Where do you want to go?
Want to make sure.
Okay, right here. Here's the official.
Now, guys, look up and send a photographer up top.
Oh, there he is.
There you go. Can I go with Jesse alone?
Very good. Dad's going to stand pretty close. So.
She's a lovely child.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, if I was young, I'd choose parties. Nice to see you. Beautiful smile, child. Okay.
Very nice. Let's stand behind her just a little bit more off to the side there.
You're getting too big. Grandpa's one of those guys.
That's nice.
No, I'm not saying. He knows I mean it.
Oh, that's,
I genuinely mean it.
that's good to hear.
Even news sources acknowledged his behavior several times before he was the Democratic frontrunner.
I'll leave a link to a video in the description that shows even more of these types of moments because, sadly, this isn't the first. Now, Biden did actually address his behavior towards the kids. Here's what he had to say.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line.
I find it funny how YouTube is quick to hide the videos of Biden being a creep, yet Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert won't shut up about Trump for 4 years, and they end up in everyone's fucking recommended. It's almost like there's some sort of agenda going on. Anyway, given that Biden's approval rating is only 35%, it's unlikely that he'll be doing a second term in the Oval Office. I mean, he hasn't really fulfilled his promise to cure cancer if he became president, and yes, he actually did say that. Honestly, Trump was far from perfect, but I'd have him back as president quicker than Sleepy Joe. A bit off topic, but Biden recently announced that the pandemic is now over, yet unvaccinated people are still banned from visiting the USA. Interesting, isn't it? Anyway, to end this segment off, all I can really say is, let's go Brandon. On January 24, 1971, the World Economic Forum was founded by Klaus Schwab, a German engineer. Its abbreviations are the WEF, and that's what I'm going to be calling them for the rest of the segment. The WEF hold meetings every January in Davos, Switzerland. They're basically in bed with a lot of organisations in the world, such as the European Union, the United Nations, and the World Health Organization. You probably know them for the video they made about the Great Reset, which they made in response to COVID. Given the like to dislike ratio though, it doesn't seem like much people will be accepting this Great Reset that they have planned. And a quick side note, they recently proclaimed that all the measures put in because of the virus was all a test to see if we will accept the social responsibility of quote-unquote tracking personal carbon emissions. It's 100% real, and I'll leave a link to the article in the description. But what exactly is the Great Reset? Well, in 2017, they posted a video called 8 Predictions for the World in 2030. The WEF took it down after it got loads of backlash, but there have been a few re-uploads. So just to make sure that the video doesn't get hidden ever again, I'm going to play it for you in full. I mean, you might as well see what type of plans they have for us for the future. I like how the first one says, you'll own nothing and be happy, and then in the next line they're saying that we're going to be renting everything. Take a guess who's going to be owning everything. Klaus and his billionaire buddies. They also keep shouting on about how important climate change is, yet they travel around the world in their private jets. They also go on about how we should cut back on meat and eat bugs. Not even kidding on that one. All while Klaus dines on the finest cuisine out there. Now, I'm not for 1 second trying to deny that climate change isn't real, but as soon as I see Klaus and his elitist pals eating bugs and cutting back on trips in their jets, then I'll consider adapting to that lifestyle. But until then, fuck off and leave me alone. One person with close connections to the WEF is King Charles III. When COP26 was held in Glasgow last year, he emphasised how important it is that we all come together and save the planet. But Charles won't be giving up his cosy lifestyle now, will he? No, in the 2 weeks before COP began, he travelled 16,000 air miles across Europe and the Middle East. He emitted 162 tons of CO2 in those trips, which is about 18 times more than the average person. He travelled 120,000 miles over a span of 5 years. And yet he has the audacity to say that his subjects in the United Kingdom have to take shorter baths. 400 private jets flew to Glasgow from all over the world. If they were really interested in saving the planet, if the situation was as dire as they say it is, then they would have had the meetings on Zoom, like what the rest of us had to do. I know I just went off topic, but the hypocrisy that these elitist twats spew on a daily basis is really fucking infuriating. Most world leaders have ties to the World Economic Forum, such as Micheál Martin, who's the Prime Minister of Ireland, Justin Trudeau, Liz Truss, Scott Morrison, Jacinda Ardern, Boris Johnson, to name a few. I wanted to bring this organisation to light because of how many people either don't know or don't care what they're doing. They're openly discussing the Great Reset and this New World Order, yet anyone who speaks out about it are labelled as crazy conspiracy theorists. Rick Mail was a comedian from Matching Tie, a village in Essex, England. He became famous for his roles in Drop Dead Fred, Blackadder, Bottom and The Young Ones. On June 9, 2014, he died at his home of a heart attack after finishing a morning jog, aged only 56. He was mourned by family, friends and throughout the United Kingdom, who remembered him as being one of its finest comedians. One of the last things he appeared in before his sudden death was a film called One by One. The plot synopsis, according to the website, is that a cafe worker is violently jolted from her day-to-day existence when offered a startling revelation that this world may be on the brink of destruction, revolution, or both. A thought-provoking drama about how we live our lives. During one scene, Rick is playing Jenga with two of the characters. Then, when the blocks collapse, this conversation occurs.
How can you believe all that stuff?
Oh, so we're going to talk about it, are we, Princess?
Yeah. Just don't get it. How can you both believe that crap? Ernest, you're like ridiculously intelligent. Why? Well, how can you believe it? Well, surely it's up there with JFK and Princess Diana. It's all conspiracy stuff.
Don't even get me started.
That's what I mean. You sound like crazies, you really do. And not questioning everything like you told me. I'm questioning everything I know about you. And how much I like you. And that's really...
Shit.
Just a bit. You're telling me that left is right and up is down, and I can't buy it.
Why?
Seriously?
Play building blocks with me.
What?
Ernest?
Please, Dion. Just one game.
One game.
How did it fall?
How did it fall? Forwards.
Why?
Well, it's about balance. You take it out one side, the balance is off, it topples over, and gravity pulls it down.
Every time?
Yeah.
Are you certain?
Yeah.
Now, when we play this, we pull out blocks from all over the structure because we don't want to be responsible for it falling over. Am I correct?
Yeah.
What happens if we only pull out blocks from one side?
Same thing.
Please, Demonstrate. So, they fall over,
Yeah.
not down.
No. Ernest, what's your point?
With any kind of building blocks, when you pull out the blocks from the side, it falls over at that point. Well, then explain to me how, when an aeroplane was flown into one of the Twin Towers on September the 11th, that building collapsed in on itself. What about the other tower? Scientifically, mathematically, or blockily, those buildings should have fallen over, not inwards. I mean, I'll concede to the idea that by some sort of miracle, one of those towers would have collapsed in on itself. But both of them? I'm afraid I doubted that the moment I watched it happen live. It is inconceivable that those planes brought those buildings down.
But watch a controlled demolition, it looks the same.
If a picture says 1,000 words, then our eyes can see 1,000 lies. See it to believe it.
Who would... How could... Who'd do that? Why would they?
Fear.
9/11, like 7/7, was pure fear. Nothing more.
September the 11th, 2001 was a ruse, a show, a charade that even a child could identify.
Bullshit.
I'm not going to say whether or not Rick was actually murdered. Personally, I don't really believe it myself. I just wonder what he would have thought of COVID vaccine passports. Thanks for watching, everyone. I know this video was quite different than my other videos, but I felt like I had to spread the word about topics that are otherwise being censored by the media if it doesn't fit their agenda. Believe it or not, I just wanted to announce that I have information that will lead to Hillary Clinton's arrest. You see, recently I found out that... Oh, I wonder who's at the door. Alright, just give me a second, I'm gonna go check who it is. Hello? Oh,
Breaking news. Famous true crime YouTuber Dark Events has been found dead in his home in Ireland. An autopsy done by the FBI concluded that he had committed suicide by shooting himself 3 times in the head before hanging himself from a fan in his room. That is the end of our broadcast tonight. This has been Amy McKenna on Globalist News Network, and special thanks to our sponsor over at the World Economic Forum.